This is Coach Ron at VG Sports, and now we're going to transition into talking about picking your staff. Picking your staff is one of the most important things you're going to do as a first-year player, as a first-year coach, and even as a veteran coach, because it's important that everybody who you surround yourself with is delivering the same message. And that is extremely important, and it's something that you really need to be comfortable with as a coach. So you need to put some time in, invest some time in finding the right people to surround yourself with, so that the message that you want to get across to your children is related. Now, what we did in 2008, again, I was a defensive backs coach for the Frankfurt Chargers, who went on to win the Pop Warner National Super Bowl at the Division I midget level, which is the 165-pound class. All right. What our head coach did, Rashid Muhammad, he picked guys who he respected, that he either grew up playing high school football with, and he knew went on to play college, and he brought those guys in. Now, me on the outside, a parent that he actually played football with, spoke highly of me and said that this guy is really passionate about football. And to be quite honest, I was brought into the coaching profession because I was on the sideline critiquing a kid, or not critiquing, but giving a kid instruction on how to be better at D-back. Just saying, hey, you need to look for this, and this will make what you're doing a whole lot easier. And this man saw what he actually came over to me and said, hey, you're real passionate about this. And I said, yeah, man, I love it. If I'm driving by and I see a kid on the street playing pickup ball in a group, I'm going to stop and coach those kids. That's just me. I love the game. And he said, I need somebody passionate like that on my staff. How would you like to coach? I didn't really believe that. I didn't really believe he would follow up with me. But a few months down the line, he actually followed up with me and got me to come out. And once I got in front of those kids and saw the information that you give them, and they were sitting there and just soaking up that information, you develop a passion, a whole new passion for the game of football yourself. And it's good as a coach to be able to spotlight things like that, or figure out what people can give you that type of passion. So that's one thing. You can find success no matter where you're at. So whenever you're out as a coach, if you see somebody who's passionate, they're at a football game or whatever, you make sure that you don't just blow off what they're saying. If they have something that's valuable, start picking that person's brain and see if they have what it takes to maybe, hey, you want to come out and volunteer and just help out with this. And if they do that, that can lead to some gems for you. Fortunately for us, the majority of our coaches were football players in college, or played at a secondary level. So that helped out a lot. And that also helps in the fact that when the head coach says something, he knows the amount of preparation that we're going to put behind it. If he says that we have a very important playoff game this week, that doesn't mean that practice is from 6 to 8 o'clock, and that's all the time that you're going to get from me as a coach. As a coach, my job doesn't end. I don't care if it's a volunteer level. If you have a day job, you come home, and what you wind up doing is starting to put that time and effort into how can you make these kids better. That's just the life of a coach. A coach isn't a part-time. It's not a part-time thing. You're almost like a step-parent to these children, and you want to make sure that you give them the opportunity to be successful. And that's what all of your coaches should be striving for. They should be giving you that effort, that passion. And you need to make sure that you can see that, and that's what you need to surround yourself with. A couple rules about coaching, or not necessarily about coaching, but to have a good coaching environment. You need to make sure, and I know this can be hard for head coaches because you know that wins and losses, well, not necessarily wins. The wins go on the kids, but the losses go on the coach's head. So I know that can be a little stressful. I know when you get to the, when you start making it to the playoffs, you're making it to the regionals, and you have the opportunity, you have the city behind you. Like in my case, we had the city of Philadelphia behind us. The mayor, Michael Nutter of the city of Philadelphia, raised money, had Comcast and the Philadelphia Eagles raise money to send us down to Florida. When you have that type of pressure on you to perform, it can be a little stressful for you as a head coach. So what you have to understand is that your staff has your back. That's what I just want to make sure that the head coaches know that. your staff has your back. You can relax a little. It's still good to be prepared, but always understand that your staff has your back. The same pressure that you have, we have on us, because we want to make sure that our team performs well. So we're making sure that we're putting in the extra effort, and we're looking at all the different ways that an offense may want to attack us on defense, or a defense may want to attack us on offense. Or if we have a player at a certain area who we think may struggle against certain things that we may see in the playoffs, we're going to put that extra time in to coach that kid up, because we know that we're only as strong as our weakest link. Not to say that any of our kids are weak, but we want to make sure that if they have any weaknesses in their game as a player, that we're coaching that up. So just make sure that you keep in mind when you're picking your staff, you want to pick people who you are really respectful of. You want to pick people who I would say that you're a friend of. Make sure they're your friends, because they're in your circle. Those are guys who you're going to take constructive criticism from. Coaching is a two-way thing. No matter what you say, if someone has something up, another thought, it's okay to have that interaction, that back and forth, because that's just going to make the team better. So, but you have to be able to understand, or you have to put people around you who you respect what they say. And that's what we had on our staff. We had a staff where there were no egos at the coaching level, and we didn't have any egos at the player level. We made sure that we all could interact. If I had something that I needed to say as far as this coverage isn't going to work, or what we're doing, or the coach said, hey, if I run this type of offense, or if we run this route combination at this coverage, it's going to break it. Have you thought of that? Yes, we thought about it. This is what we're going to do if we see that. So you got to make sure that you can take that coming both ways. And if you have that type of staff where you guys respect each other's opinion, you guys understand it as there's nothing personal during game day, whatever's said on the field stays on the field, because we're all at a heightened state, we're all passionate at that point. We got to make sure if you have all of that around you, you have the building or the foundation for a great coaching staff. So again, if there is anything that I can get across to you, make sure that you have guys that you respect. Make sure that you have people on your staff that you are very friendly with, who you believe always have your back, because in coaching, everybody has to have the head coach's back. And even if you're not the head coach, if you're an assistant, make sure that you're comfortable with knowing that the coaching staff needs you there. Make sure that you feel as though you're needed. And if you're not, just make sure that you hey, what can I do to be more, to give more, because I don't feel as though that I'm giving enough, or I don't feel that you guys think I'm giving enough. Make sure that you address that. You don't harbor anything when you're a coach. You don't sit and let things become bigger than what they are. This is football. Sorry to say, it's a man's sport, no matter what level it's on, and you have to treat it like that way. So if you have an issue, you have to deal with that issue right away. And we'll be able to move forward and be successful if you're doing that. So open lines of communication, put people around you who you believe who have been successful, put people around you who you respect and who also respect you, and I guarantee you'll have a great season.